an adult could easily travel on the third row seats. It is completely doable. I did compare that with the IONIQ 9. Welcome to CarSceneKorea. I introduce newly released Genesis, Hyundai, and Kia cars. And as you saw from the thumbnail, I am test driving 2026 all-new Hyundai Palisade intensive thorough review, driving the car for 222 kilometers, 8 hours and 40 minutes. I'll give it to you straight. It's 7.2 kilometers per liter I have clocked. That is together with the exhaustive tests, and I am the worst person when it comes to the fuel economy. I never ever get the suggested fuel economy, just so you know. So you will get much better number than that. And honestly, I don't even know how many Palisade videos I have made. If you haven't already, please check out my earlier videos and reviews of Palisade. I have intensive walk around, interior, exterior, test drive, first impression, ASMR video, you name it, I have it all. I even have measurement videos that I shot twice because I actually made a mistake here and there in the first video. A long story short, I won't really be going over all of those things because I have repeated myself just a little too much in the past video. So it will be the test drive in general, how it would be for you to own and drive this Palisade as your family car, daily driver, and grocery getter. So there are two variants of this all-new Palisade, one with 9-seater, which this car very much is, and well, I'll show it to you real quick. So you can pull this lever, and when you do, watch this. So you can actually raise it up. I don't want to lose my tumbler here. Raise it up, this becomes into a seat, making this car to be a 9-seater car. And why is that? It's the first time that Palisade got such, but the appealing reason behind it is that you can actually drive on bus-only lane in Korea when you have 6 or more people sitting inside a vehicle. So it was only StarX or Staria or Kia Carnival up until today that could actually do so. So it's a possibility you see this Palisade on the bus lane here in Korea. I know it's not all markets around the world, but that is what it is here in Korea. And I know there are a few countries just like this that has special benefit of operating 9 or more passenger cars. So that is probably the most reasonable idea that I can come up with this 9-seater Palisade. So that being said, there is also a 7-seater Palisade seat configuration of 2 + 2 + 3 on the third row seat. 2 seats on the second row seats come with captain seats that has a full legit massage seat. It's not the same as the ergo motion seat that we are used to, which this Palisade has on the first row seat. Only on the driver's seat though. It's not available on the passenger seat, unfortunately, something that my wife Dima really loves and was a bit disappointed when she found out that there is no ergo motion seat on the passenger seat. And it was also the case with the predecessor, so it's not a big surprise. But even the big brother, IONIQ 9, also only gets the ergo motion seat on the driver's seat. So maybe that's where we find our inner peace. These seat configurations, interior and exterior colors, it's all in the previous video. And I have specific video for each category. So please refer to that. But one quick recap is, for the first time ever, Palisade is now offered in two-tone interior, which was reserved for the luxury brand Genesis only up until today. I really love that white and navy two-tone interior, and that is actually the interior that I chose. I'm sorry if you already know, I pre-ordered and signed up for this Palisade hybrid fully loaded all-wheel drive H-Track model. I chose creamy white pearl, which is the same exterior color this media car is, and it is that white/navy two-tone that I chose for the interior. And I did also choose the 7-seater configuration, but I am still debating whether I would actually get the 7-seater myself or not, because having driven this 9-seater, it is a little bit more ideal for you to actually have this bench seat on the second row seat in order to fully utilize the second and third row seats folded down. You can have more luggage space in the trunk, and also it's relatively easier and more flat compared to the captain seats on the second row. due to the nature being. So there is no empty spot between the seats. It is actually advantage and disadvantage at the same time for the captain seats, because if you think about it, it's much more comfy than the bench seat on the second row seat. As you can see, for those who will be sitting on the second row seat, you could have more relaxed seat together with the massage seat if you include it. Demai and I, we plan on having bigger family. If we have kids, then that second row seat will be much more ideal to have the bench seat or captain seat. I honestly don't know. So if you have answers to that, let me know in the comment below, because I think it's going to be more practical if you have the bench seat by having more seats literally on the second row, because at the end of the day, you'll be having the baby seats on the second row seat stuck with the ISOFIX anyway. And there is no swivel seat for Palisade, unfortunately, which I absolutely loved from the IONIQ 9. And for that, I leaned towards the IONIQ 9 for that reason real quick, but I came back to the Palisade. So let me know in the comment below if there is any insight that you would like to share with me about the bench seat versus the captain seats as a pair with kids. I can only know so much, right? I have to experience things in order to find out how things are myself. So here I want to jump right over and go over the speed bump. So yeah, let's get back to this test drive after all. So releasing a brake, going over at 45 kilometers per hour it was. And just look, and this is 40 kilometers. Just look at the work the Palisade does with the speed bumps. Thanks to the Preview ECS electronically controlled suspension, it's been offered on Hyundai car for the first time, and it just goes over the speed bump very smoothly. So this is my commute. I drive this road all the time with all sorts of cars, and my daily driver Celtos, it would have threw everything in the trunk up in the air already had I gone over the speed bump in that speed. First time ever Preview ECS, it was only Genesis reserved tech, but being the flagship SUV of Hyundai, the all-new Palisade got it. I have only compliments for that. But my hopes are a little higher for the future hybrid model to come, because the hybrid model will certainly have a hybrid motor tech, which will aid with the pitching movement, the up and down movement of a vehicle, utilizing the regen brake and force from the motor that was already introduced on lower hybrid SUV cars such as Hyundai Tucson and Sportage hybrids. I went over and over about this in previous videos. You will absolutely love it and feel every single component of it the moment you test drive the vehicle. It does come with the EV stay mode, so it won't be as long or powerful as that of the EVs. However, it will provide lasting, stronger output compared to the previous hybrid and ICE cars have been doing. Well, being said, it actually ties together to the next topic very well. That is, the car, the ICE, is now only offered in i4 inline 4 2.5 turbo engine that we have seen in previous cars such as Sonata N-Line. Yes, there are people already missing that V6 3.8 liter naturally aspirated engine, but manufacturers have no choice but to downsize the engine and become more efficient. But I want to say that Hyundai Palisade has overcome such struggle or shortage, I should say, by introducing the hybrid motor. Well, there is the instant torque from the motor, extra horsepower, extra driving range, more fuel efficient and environment friendly. The list just goes on. And I am a hybrid guy, if you didn't know. I love hybrid cars. Literally speaking, it is the hybrid of the ICE cars and the EV. It's like the best transition in between the two eras we are living in. We are already living in the era of EVs. I review EV cars all the time. There's always brand new EVs rolling out from Genesis, Hyundai, and Kia. It is no doubt that it is a rapidly growing market, but looking at the market share, ICE cars are still dominant in the car industry, of course, right? And this is me included. There are people who simply don't have an easy access to EV charging facility. I mean, if I had that at my home or workplace, I already would be driving IONIQ 5 or EV6, if you ask me. Hybrid is a great solution, but coming back to this petrol Palisade we're test driving today, there is certainly the huge price difference between the two. And if you do a calculation and convert all that money that you would pay extra for the hybrid, it takes years, literally, for you to actually catch up with the money that you have saved from the hybrid. It of course really depends on how much you drive the vehicle, but on an average, it is about 5 years to 10 years in order to benefit from all that money you saved up from the fuel economy. And you might be thinking, I am contradicting exactly what I've been saying, praising about the hybrid for the past couple of minutes. So the kicker is that it's not just the fuel economy you are saving. There is also the ride, the drive, and EV stay mode, V2L, features that resemble all the advantages EVs have got to offer are also found on hybrid models. So enough of hybrids, pardon me, but it does actually tie together with the petrol model too. So if you're not benefiting all that too much from the hybrid, including the fuel efficiency as well as the whole EV-like experience you get from the hybrid motor and batteries, then this gasoline is the model to go with. Yes, not the best fuel economy we could possibly see from Hyundai cars due to the nature being having smaller engine, bigger car, heaviest car you can get from the Hyundai SUV ICE cars. But there is not a car like Palisade at this price range that offers a full-size SUV, well, from Hyundai Motor Group at least, with 7-seater or 9-seater configuration, captain seats on the second row seat, and massive third row seats. I also have shot and shown you that an adult could easily travel on the third row seats, and long distances even. It is completely doable. I did compare that with the IONIQ 9, the flagship EV SUV as well. Palisade's third row seat is actually more spacious on the third row seat than the IONIQ 9s due to the nature being. The third row seat also actually sits a bit taller compared to the second row seat, so the visibility from the third row seat out the front window is not bad at all. You don't feel all that crowded, and also thanks to that gigantic quarter glass on the rear next to the dip pillar, you get so much visibility out that way. It's okay for adults, and it's more than okay for kids and children to sit on the third row seat. But do keep in mind that the third row seat is sitting right on top of the rear wheel, so it's not necessarily going to provide the best sitting comfort or experience possible. Speaking of the third row seat, there is still very usable and practical space in the trunk, the boot, even with the third row seat upright. You can also tilt the third row seat. Hyundai utilized every inch of this Palisade inside out, thanks to shorter overhang on the front and longer on the rear part, which got translated into larger cabin space together with the trunk space that I just went over. All in all, the NVH, noise, vibration, and harshness, nothing to complain about unless I compare it to an EV. I just finished test driving an EV, Genesis EV to be precise. So I do feel the car is a bit more noisy compared to 100% full EV electric vehicles. However, the car does come with the stop and go, so the engine will shut down just like so, and also fire up again when it detects the car in the front moving, which I actually really liked. There is no sluggish moment when you just want to go when the light changed, so the car is actually already preparing itself on its own. All this driver user-friendly text and features here and there, I absolutely love, and this made my driving experience really, really pleasant. And despite this behemoth size, I don't know what is in play, to be honest, because I would actually have to sit down, go over all this tiny details and numbers, but it's got to be the latest techs and features such as the blind spot view monitor, BVM we just saw, and 360 view cams, surround view cams that you can run right here. So when you go into the tight parking lot and area, you have secondary aid, the visual camera aid out the car. So you can actually drive really close to the pillar, the wall, the curbs, and you don't need to worry about it. It's gonna take some time for you to get used to, but once you do, this camera's got you covered. And thanks to that, I didn't scrape a thing. I mean, I shouldn't even without it, but I didn't scrape a thing. So that's it for today's video, going over the exhaustive and intensive review of this all-new Hyundai Palisade. So that really is it for today's video. Thanks for watching Cars in Korea, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.